It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen over 35 podcast platforms on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful lady from New York City. She's got a new album out called Heart Attacks and Southern Roses, also featuring the title track, Push Paul, Leave Your Queen, and she's a queen of New York right now, despite what's been happening, and managed to make a big scene in the music world. And yes, very electric and just very entertaining, very multi-talented singer, songwriter, musician from the Big Apple. The next best thing, ladies and gentlemen, live from New York City, Babyllon. Babyllon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm soft as a bagel. The right bagel, Mike. I'm excited to be here.
Soft as a bagel? You're making me hungry now.
This is why I do rock and roll and I don't do comedy. You get it?
Oh, yeah. And by the way, what is your favorite bagel? I like it with cream cheese, onion, a little bit of cucumber on it, and toasted.
I'm plain Jane. Everything bagel and some cream cheese. That's it. That's the way it's got to be. Toasted. Not too toasted, not under toasted, but perfect. Toasted. Cut. Halfway. Send me out the door. Give me black coffee. Don't talk to me until I'm smiling, which is like 5 coffees later. And then we're good to go.
And 5 bagels afterwards, too. So
Yeah.
And so you've been in New York City for quite some time. You got a new album out called Heart Attacks and Southern Roses. You got the title track. You got Push Paul, Leave Your Queen. And you've been all over the streaming music as well, too, like Spotify, SoundCloud, and more. And you've been in New York City for quite some time. You've been doing some singing, songwriting, and being a musician for quite some time. And before we get into all that, tell us how you got started musically, career-wise.
How did I get started musically, career-wise? You want the long story or you want the short story? I'll give you the short long. Okay.
Or the long short. Take your pick.
Whichever. I mean, I'll have to, I'll slim it down a little bit. So I started playing guitar in junior high because I fell in love with this classroom, the guitar classroom. They were playing through something. I walked by. I was in the brass band back then. It was like the last week of junior high, and I knocked on a door, and I stopped, and I knocked on a door, and the teacher answered the door, and he said, "How can I help you?" And I was like, "I want to play guitar." And he said, "Well, elective, picking days are over, so what grade are you in?" And I was like, "I'm in 7th grade." And he was like, "Well, then you definitely can't."
Oh.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the counselor's office because this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Went to the counselor's office. She also told me I couldn't, but she told me to look through the rule book, and I looked through the rule book, and I found out that you can make your own class if you have enough students and parents to sign a petition to start a course. So I freaked out. I ran back to the counselor's office the next day, and I asked her what I needed if I wanted to do that. She said you'd need to sign a petition so that the parents can pay for the books, and the children will have the instruments, and or the school will provide them for us. Get the teacher signed on board to teach for his free block elective, and if I can get all that done in like 3 days, I can do that. So I printed off a bunch of flyers, and I talked to all my friends. I probably skipped a few classes that day by just trying to find the 15 friends that I had to play guitar with me. And that, mind you, like, all of them, including myself, like, have never played. So it was like, hey, you want to play guitar next year? Because, like, what else are we going to do? And they all signed up, and their parents signed up, and their parents paid $25 for the books, and the teacher said yes, and that's how I started playing guitar, because music has been in my family for a very long time through different instruments and, you know, generations, singing, composing, arranging, piano, lots of different things, from my father to my mother to my grandparents and so on and so forth. But I'm the guitar lineage.
Wow, that's amazing. And of course, you know, your mom and dad being accomplished musicians and passing it on to you. And what was that one moment that influenced you into what you're doing today? And what was that aha moment that says, yes, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life?
I don't know. It was pretty early, because I was like, authority. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I don't know. I always pursued it. I worked with a few publishing companies and, like, songwriters, and did, like, pop and, like, you know, played classical, and I always knew that music was supposed to be a part of my life in a very big way. I never really thought about, you know, having collegiate classes in order to do any kind of other kind of career path. You know, I was living in Northern Virginia at the time, and, you know, it's very easy to go to Capitol Hill, start working for, you know, the political endeavor of the country, and everybody that I knew was doing that, and nobody that I knew was actually trying to do the creative thing, which actually makes you feel good. So once I started weighing out the pros and cons of, hey, this makes me feel really good, all this other stuff doesn't. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I don't care how long it takes, because you know what, Mike? It's been a while. It's been taking its sweet time cooking in the pot, but I'm still happy. I'm still every day just doing it. You just gotta do it.
That is amazing as well, too. And who are some of your other favorite artists, singers, and especially musicians and guitarists growing up?
Guitarists growing up. Led Zeppelin, the full-on band, everybody in that band. I mean, because I don't just sit and weigh my options on just guitar. I sit and I listen to the whole arrangement. You know, as a child, I listened to Michael Jackson. It's an array of a production. I always loved the entire production of it. Guitarists like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. You're going to talk about them like old blues, like 1950s blues, like 1920s music, anything that's completely different and raw in its form. And then, you know, then I started getting into the basis of like 70s rock and roll and what pushed it, and the reasons why it pushed it, and the reasons why it was different and uncharted, and it made people kind of uneasy, but they loved it. And that's kind of what I started loving about it, was that it was breaking the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned about old blues going back to the 20s and the 50s and what have you. What are your thoughts on Robert Johnson back in the day, as well as Muddy Waters, like, say, around the 50s and 60s or so?
I mean, Muddy Waters is more like Mississippi, and Robert Johnson is like Delta. You can go both way, you know. You have a really nice rainy day where you just want to cuddle up to that special someone. You put on some Delta blues, and you're going to have an awesome time. Or you're going to go the other way. You're going to go to the hoot and howling blues, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're just going to hoot and howl, and that's where it's at. I think that it's more of an emotion, and those players were the people that brought positive emotion out of what people thought blues brought from a negative part, because a lot of people associate blues with literal blues, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they don't recognize that it's actually an empowerment. It's an empowerment feeling that they were playing.
Mm-hmm. And who are some of your other influences as well, too, when it comes to blues?
I don't know. I guess, like, blues, I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. You can't go wrong. I mean, B.B. King, he's like the bluesiest of blues. You know what I'm saying? B.B. was like bendem schmendem. I don't know how you put it. He's, you know, his favorite quote is like, don't try too hard. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how are you telling me you're not trying too hard when you play such beautiful blues and you're all over the neckboard, but then you make those notes sing so good. Mm-hmm. I really love Stevie Ray Vaughan. I really, really, really love the way he played. He played magically. He played with conviction, but he also played by playing other people's styles who were also magical with conviction.
And of course, we'll talk more about that as well, too, along with some of your works. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking our budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen over 35 podcast platforms on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, as well as Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with New York City soon-to-be legend Babyllon here on the Mike Wagner Show. Talked about some of the upbringings as well, too, including a lot of mixes like in the rock, blues, and 80s music and just about everything else. And she's got a new album out called Heart Attack and Southern Roses. We'll be playing a title track in just a minute. We also got the singles Push, Pull, Leave Your Queen, and more. And tell us about the album.
Well, I thank you again. I appreciate that amazing lead-in. Heart Attack and Southern Roses. I recorded it primarily in my apartment by myself, by just tracking it track by track by track by track. Then on a few songs, I overdubbed a couple musicians that had added, some parts to it. But for the most part, I recorded everything with one microphone and just mixed it down and, had the whole arrangement set up. And then I sent it over to my really good friend, Jeff Jones, who's a Grammy-winning producer over here in Upper Harlem, and he mastered it. Heart Attacks and Southern Roses was like the biggest baby I've ever had.
And what influenced you to write this song and maybe tell us a little more about it as well, too? Heart Attacks and Southern Roses.
Heart Attacks and Southern Roses. Heart Attacks and Southern Roses is a song that I wrote about feeling the oppression of someone not thinking that you're good enough and that you can just keep going. If they don't like it, it doesn't matter. You just keep going and you just keep loving yourself and you keep doing what you need to do and you push through it and you drive through it and you burst through the top of the ceiling and you just go. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so I thought Joe had more about it too. So it sounds like something that just really pushes you through and everything else. And Push, Pull, Leave Your Queen, and maybe tell us a little more as well too. And you also got Stay as well too, and Back to the Bayou.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about Push, Pull?
Absolutely.
Push, Pull is a song that I wrote about the love for being a New York City rebel and not conforming to societal standards of being, a female with like blonde hair. That because you don't know where people come from, all walks of life. You can't sit and tell someone to walk in a certain way. You can't tell them how to be. They have to be free. You have to enjoy the animal inside of you. So Push Pull is like an ode to loving the fact of being a rebel and like loving the fact that it's good to push the limits and it's good to go beyond boundaries and it's good to trust your instinct and it's good to be like a loaded cannon.
A loaded cannon, pretty much, yeah. So I think we talked about the meaning behind that as well, too. And we'll play our song in just a minute along with what's coming up next for you. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking our budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. 303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, over 35 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also, follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with New York City soon-to-be legend Babyllon here on the Mike Wagner Show, talking about her singing, songwriting, musician career, and accomplished guitars as well, too. Right now, here's the title track to Heart Attack and Southern Roses. Here's Babyllon on the Mike Wagner Show.
Put on my blue jeans, push the Chevy to the max. I'm not gonna be with you if you don't like my sass, 'cause if you don't love me, somebody else will. How many times you gon' keep promising me gold? I ain't a digger, baby, I
Heart Attacks and Southern Roses from Babyllon here on the Mike Wagner Show. And where can people find your Heart Attacks and Southern Roses?
Oh, perfect. They can find it anywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Tidal. We're on YouTube. Just look up Babyllon, Babyllon. If you follow it with Heart Attacks and Southern Roses, it'll get you right to the title track and or album. Or if they just search Babyllon, Babyllon, they can find it on Spotify. It comes up right as an artist, and it's all over the streaming platforms where anyone can listen to music today.
That's fantastic. Looking forward to it as well, too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Biggest influence in my career. What a loaded question, Mike.
Don't say me,
come out
please.
Swinging easy, did ya? Oh man, like what kind of a question is that? You love to put people on the spot. I'm foaming. Honestly, from people to experiences to feeling love and wanting love. Really, in all different ways.
Mm-hmm. And of course, maybe like with some of your fans or people who worked in music or anybody in family like that, they can also be influenced as well, too. And of course, also your fans, too, don't forget.
Absolutely. I mean, the people that listen to the music that tell me it's moving it has moved them into a different emotional place in their life and gotten them out of something. Or, whether it was the family upbringing that I had. My mother played piano, my father played guitar. My great grandmother sang for the SARS. Like, these are all influences that I've had. Love, real love that you experience from having a human being in your life is an influence. Hardship is an influence. Going through the dirt and the mud of being in the music business is an influence. Like, all of these things, all of these things have molded me and rounded me into creating the things that I create by wanting to produce music that's big. I love to make a big sound because of the influence of trying to show the world that nobody has to feel oppressed by nothing.
Mm-hmm. And that's very true, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Anybody at this point in their musical career, just keep going. And if there's a resource that you think that you don't have, you can find it on the internet. And if there's a resource that you can't find on the internet, sit and meditate and the universe will send it to you, and or find out how to talk to people. The right person and the right thing and the right value and the right resource and the right infrastructure will come to every single artist as long as they keep pursuing their planned goals. Make plans, execute them. Make daily routines, execute them. Just keep going. Trial and error. Try it 1,000 times. Make a million rough drafts. Let the baby have the baby and keep making more.
That's fantastic advice. Once again, Babyllon from New York City here on the Mike Wagner Show. A big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Look forward to him again soon. Also, just one more thing. What do you got coming up for 2020 and beyond?
2020, you just dropped a single that I made in a bathroom. I call it the Scorpio craving because I was craving deep emotional connection, but I recorded it all in a bathroom in quarantine. But also I've got coming up in 2020, finishing up pre-production for an album and hopefully seeing the fruits of the wonderful financial labor coming to us when everything starts to open so that I can get into the studio and drop an album sometime between the end of 2020 and the beginning of 21.
And of course, it makes me think of recording in a bathroom like most people just do in places as well, too. And of course, I have to say one thing when I think about recording in a bathroom. Yeah, somebody does give a crap how you sound. I got to say that. It sounds great.
That's hilarious.
And how much toilet paper did you use during that recording in the bathroom?
I use baby wipes, Mike.
Oh, okay. So you saved the toilet paper. Good for you. At least you didn't have to rain the toilet paper.
I can't be judged.
Yes. Now you can hoard baby wipes. That's right.
Yes. No, don't tell me about hoarding baby wipes. Oh, man, I love it. I love it. You're a hoot and holler. I love it.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Is that possible?
Oh, you sure can. Ask me anything.
Why do you love to be a radio host.
Well, you know something? We'll talk about that at another time. So if you get a podcast going, I'll be glad to be a guest on your show. And this is what I love, and this is what I do for a living. So we'll talk more about that.
I have a podcast. It's called Power Bush Radio, and I'm going to call you about it soon.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll talk more about the air. And also, once again, Babyllon from the Mike Wagner Show in New York City. Big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. I can't wait to hear more material from you. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, your website. How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or listen to your music?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure again for me. Everybody can find the music if they search Babyllon, Babyllon, on all search platforms. I come up as an artist. Very easy to find. Or if you add Heart Attacks and Southern Roses to it, you can find everything. I'm on Instagram at Listen to Babyllon. We are on a website, listentobabylon.com. It's everywhere. I'm everywhere. It's very easy to find. YouTube is Babyllon, Babyllon. Everywhere you want to buy music, it is there. And if somebody wants to contact me on Instagram, I have physical CDs that I can mail them out if they choose to want a physical copy of a CD.
Sounds great. We're looking forward to what you got. Again, Babyllon, a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep this up to date. Love you have back on 2020 and beyond. And you've been beyond fantastic. Looking forward to more Heart Attacks and Southern Roses from you.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's been a pleasure. It's been awesome.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.